the two stunning empresses standing on the side. Noticed that Xiao Tian has already surpassed the limit of body cultivation. Ordered him to go home and rest well. Just after resolving the crisis of the Great Flame Dynasty, Luo Fenai, carrying a large object, rushed towards Xiao Tian. It fiercely smashed into the man's face, leaving him breathless. At the critical moment, a hand suddenly grabbed Luo Fenai, yanking her away and saving the man who was on the verge of suffocation. Fortunately, Ziruoyan arrived in time. Otherwise, today he might have died in the arms of the female demon. Ziruoyan carefully examined Xiao Tian. Finding that he had no injuries, she finally relaxed. However, there was still some anger in her heart. Rebuking Luo Fenai for being too scheming and trying to take advantage of her man. Luo Fenai, always carefree, paid no attention to Ziruoyan's gaze. Excitedly asking Xiao Tian with clenched fists about the whereabouts of the blonde woman. But as soon as the words were spoken, Ziruoyan laughed. Luo Fenai hurriedly explained that it was the old woman with the tattoo on her face. At this moment, Ziruoyan pointed to the already unconscious Dongfang Gaoxian and Zhou Tianji, clearly indicating that the matter had already been resolved. Xiao Tian, watching the two about to clash again, couldn't help but feel a headache. Xiao Tian had to resort to some dramatic acting, violently coughing and falling backward, appearing as if he was exhausted after a fierce battle. Both Ziruoyan and Luo Fenai were shocked, hurriedly supporting him. Xiao Tian explained that he had just exerted a great deal of power, and estimated that he needed some time to rest, apologizing for causing them worry. Ziruoyan shook her head and comforted, "It's already good enough. Don't blame yourself, and you've given us a pleasant surprise, Lord Yama." Upon hearing this title, Xiao Tian immediately fell silent, recalling memories best left in the past. Luo Fenai's captivating eyes locked onto Xiao Tian, saying, "With such good stamina, does that mean we're in for a treat in the future?" Hearing this question, Xiao Tian blushed suddenly. Ziruoyan looked around and noticed Long Qiudao behind them, reminding Luo Fenai that it wasn't convenient to talk here and suggesting to continue the conversation at home. Luo Fenai understood Ziruoyan's hint and agreed, "Right, let's talk at home." At this moment, Xiao Tian's heart pounded anxiously, wondering if there was another task immediately after resolving the external threat. Soon, the group appeared in the sky above the Great Flame Imperial City. People gathered below, looking up at Xiao Tian, shouting their gratitude for the prince's life-saving grace. Meanwhile, in the consciousness space, Wang Kai stared at Xiao Tian's soul. He could sense the appearance of a faint light in the dark mental space. A beam of light began to illuminate the dim realm as those rays fell upon Xiao Tian's soul. Seeing the glow illuminating Xiao Tian's soul, Wang Kai couldn't help but smile. The walls and barriers constructed to resist nightmare fragments and negative emotions had also expanded by twice the size. After a while, Xiao Tian lay on his specially made spirit stone chair. In his mind, images of the great terror mentioned by Purple Heart Lotus before her collapse resurfaced. No one could escape unscathed. Xiao Tian's curiosity about that era intensified. What kind of great terror could lead a generation's emperor to choose self-imprisonment? The tea offered by Long Qiudao interrupted Xiao Tian's thoughts. He took a sip, displaying a satisfied expression. Xiao Tian praised the old man's tea and then inquired, breaking the silence, "Long Qiudao, tell me. What troubles did the human emperor encounter back then?" Xiao Tian inquired. The old man shook his head, wearing a troubled expression, and replied, "The time is too distant, all that remains of me is a broken and incomplete soul. I can vaguely recall that it was an unprecedented catastrophe. If not handled properly, all races would have perished. But, Lord Xiao, there's no need to worry too much about this matter. With your strength, protecting yourself during a catastrophe won't be difficult." Xiao Tian nodded, but his expression was deeply solemn. "I've only been here for a short time, and I've encountered all sorts of disasters and tribulations. This catastrophe, is it also aimed at me?" Long Qiudao's hands trembled as he poured tea. He almost didn't hold the cup, saying, Lord Xiao, with your kindness and righteousness, I don't think someone would target you without reason. Xiao Tian shook his head, disagreeing with Long Qiudao. I've been manipulated by others so many times. If it weren't for a bit of brute force, I might have perished long ago. Just then, Xiao Yue rushed over, shouting, "Something's wrong. They are fighting again." Xiao Tian asked in bewilderment, "Why are they fighting this time?" "They argue about who should be the head of the family," Ziruoyan said. "Whoever has a better brain, we should listen to them." Luo Fengai added, "And whoever is older should be in charge." The key is that Luo Fengai was born a few hours later than Ziruoyan, but she insists on being the older one, Ziruoyan continued. "But Luo Fengai insists she's older," Luo Fengai declared. Xiao Tian almost choked on his tea upon hearing this. Looking at Xiao Yue, he explained, "You're still young, you'll understand when you grow up." Xiao Yue shook her head in confusion, then suddenly looked to the side. Two determined empresses appeared in the courtyard, both refusing to concede.